Good morning. Hello. How is everyone this morning? Let me just take a drink and then I'll get right down to it because I'm a little bit early. So normally I go at 10, but it's only 3 minutes until 10. So just wait a minute for other people to come. Someone says, good morning. It's horrendous outside. It's this like weird gray here where like the sun's trying to poke out and it's not yet raining, but it's definitely going to rain like within the next 10 minutes. So we'll see. We'll see. So today's French knots, what I've done is I've made this grid here. So over here is the amount of strands. So we'll do 1 strand, 3, 6, and 12. And then this one is wraps. So you can wrap it around 1 time, 2 times, or 3 times. I honestly wouldn't do more than 3 times because when you get to 4 or 5, the knot tends to kind of be like this, like leaning over, you know, and it doesn't like lay flat on the fabric. Where are you from? She says it's hailed, rained, sleeted, and snowed in the last half hour. I really hope that's not coming for us. David said it's meant to snow like either today or tomorrow. I kind of hope it doesn't because that's just terrible. Okay, Liverpool. Oh, I'm Birmingham, so goodness gracious. So I'm going to start with 6 so that you can see how to do it. And then we'll go smaller and smaller. And then lastly, I'll do bigger because if I start with 1 strand, it's a little bit hard to see the 1 strand to like see how to do it. Now, I know most of you will already know how to do French knots, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine. I see that like 50 million times per live. I swear to God. I'm really sorry. But if you already know how, that's okay. I'm going to show you anyways, because for some people, they don't know. So it's just 6 strands. There's a little knot on the end. I've got a little tail, just like normal. And I'm going to come up here like this. And for French knots, you need to have both hands. So if you have a hoop stand, that's fantastic. If not, you might want to just put your hoop on your lap and then know that you're going to have to pick it up again. So yeah, just have a think about that. You're going to take the thread in your left hand. Yeah, and put your needle above, and we're just going to do 1 wrap, okay? So you're going to wrap it like this, keep it loose. You don't want to keep it really tight like this because then you're not going to be able to put it in the fabric. So keep your thread in your left hand, put the needle above, wrap it 1 time loosely, and you're going to put it right back down next to where you've just come up, hopefully not through the knot because that's going to give you a bad time. So just right next to it. And this right here is probably the most important part. You want to kind of shimmy this wrap down so that it's very close to the fabric. So you want to kind of tighten it up, not too tight because you still have to push your needle through. So you don't want it to be like difficult. So your needle should still be able to push down. But you're going to hold this thread here on the edge. So this is where if you don't have a hoop stand, you can pick up your hoop. You're going to push this down all the way and only let go of that thread when you know that 1, it's not going to get all tangled, and 2, when it's almost through the hoop. So you can do as many 1 wrap French knots in here that you want to. I'll do it again just so that you can see. Like I said, most people already know how to do it, but it's good to show. So again, holding it, needle at the top, wrap 1 time, put it straight down, and then pull it down to the base of the shaft of the needle. Yeah, you're gonna hold it with your finger here, with your thumb, and push it down. Hi, Meg. And you're only gonna let go when you're sure that it's not going to be knotted. The thread is not gonna be knotted. So I'm gonna move to 2 wraps here. It's exactly the same. Come up, wrap it once, wrap it twice, down. Again, shimmy that down, and pull it through. So with 2 wraps, you're gonna get a bigger knot. There you go. I will not be demonstrating a bullion stitch for this stitch along. We're not using that stitch for this stitch along. Sorry. And we've got 3 stitches, or 3 wraps. So just the same, but you're gonna do 3. You can tell I've done 3 wraps. 1, 2, 3. Put it down, shimmy it down, hold it. So that's gonna be even bigger. So again, I'll do 1 more. So there you go. So I'll quickly do all the rest of them since you've kind of already seen it. But this is where you kind of need to know how thick your thread is and how many wraps that you might need to do. So here I've got just 1. So that's why doing one of these little grids is like quite helpful, because you might think, oh, I definitely want to do it like this. But actually, when you get to it, you're like, why have I done that? Now I have to spend like 27 years doing French knots. So there's 1 strand, 1 wrap, 2 wraps, 3 wraps. They're way, way, way small. But they would be great if you needed to do like grains of sand. Even like a dot to an eye. Like a, dot. Good for that. Then we have 3 strands. Like I said, I'm just gonna quickly do it. I've used the light pink threads so that hopefully you can see the actual thread instead of a dark color, because the dark color doesn't show up as well on the camera. So here we have 3 strands. One wrap. Two wraps. And then we have 3 wraps. There we go. And then the last one is 12. And you might need to use 12, you might not. You can kind of see that 1 wrap of 6 strands is almost the same as 3 wraps of 3 strands. So kind of if you have some leftover thread and you want to do some French knots, you don't always have to double up the thread to get the same size knot, Okay. And then lastly, 12 strands. And for this one, I'm just going to, actually don't like French knots with 12 strands this way, the way I'm going to do it, which is to have the loop at the top where my eye is and the knot at the bottom, because you really need to have both of the strands nice and tight and the same length, and when you have 2 strands like this, 2 sets of 6 strands, they tend to kind of, one will get a little bit loose, like more loose than the other one. So it's not my favorite way of doing this, but it works to show how big they can be. Okay, so I've got a question. How many strands do you prefer to use? Is it dependent on the project? I think it depends on how big you want the knot to be on the flower or the thing that you're stitching. So there we have one. Okay, the other thing is that if your thread is doing this kind of thing, it's only just starting it because I've only just started to use 12 strands. But if you see that it's twisting up like this all the time, you're gonna get a knot on the top here, on the top of your fabric, and you really don't want to do that. So what you need to do is just let your needle hang and it will untwist itself. Ooh, Meg says 3 strands and 2 wraps tends to be her go-to. So hers is this one. I think I tend to use like whatever. Hi, George. I think I tend to use whatever I have and then just adjust the wraps accordingly. So if I'm using some like scrap fabrics or something and I find the color that I want, I'll just do as many wraps as I need to. So that's like a Big Daddy one. So there we go. You can kind of see here like the grid, almost looks like a times table grid, doesn't it, of French knots. So hopefully you can kind of see and gauge which ones maybe you could use, you know, if you want something that's quite delicate, like almost like the inside of a sunflower or something like this would be quite nice. The smaller ones, because then they can get really, really packed in there and give that like a little seed effect. Whereas if you just kind of wanted some knots to fill in things, then maybe just 6 strands, depending on the size of the knot that you want, will be fine. So that's what I have for you, the sampler, the French knot sampler. I really do recommend doing it because it is nice to see exactly how big each of the French knots can be. So it's like a little bit tedious, you know, but at the same time, it is quite helpful. Okay, so I'm just gonna zoom out because this is like super zoomed in. How pretty is that though? All right, I'm just gonna quickly point out all the different places where you could do French knots. All right, and then I'll do a couple with you so you can see, and then I'll let you know what other things you could fill them in because you don't always have to fill them in with French knots. So I've got my like sword embroidery needle here. So we've got the centers of all the flowers here. Excuse me. I just chugged a coffee. I've got the centers of all the flowers. It's a bit dark. So obviously here, these ones here. Yeah. These little ones here, here. The tips of these ones, so they go, you can do either one big one or you can do kind of 3 small ones, like 2 next to each other and 1 on top. So these ones, and then here, okay? You can also use French knots to fill in different things, and we'll do that tomorrow when we're like filling in extra leaves and extra like little stalks in like places where we have a gap. But I'll show you how to use the French knots as like a filler as well. So if you've got like a space like this here that you kind of want to just like fill up a little bit, you could do that. So yeah, that's kind of where we're going to be putting the French knots, any of the center of any of these flowers. And it's totally up to you. Ugh, why do I always say that? It's totally up to you. That's totally fine. It's up to you whether you want to do bigger ones. So I'll just stick it here again. If you want to do some bigger ones, like these ones, 3 wraps, 6 strands, 3 wraps, and just do like 2 or 3, in the center of these, or if you really want to do like much smaller ones, like this one, if you did 6 wraps, 3 strands, you'll probably get one fat one like right in the middle. But if you wanted to do 3 wraps, 2 strands, then you could do like 3 or 4 in the middle. So it depends on how you want it to look. Like I said, it's your embroidery at the end of the day. So it's kind of something that you need to choose. There's no like set pattern for these. It's just however you feel like filling them in. So yeah, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Don't worry, I've got another one. I've got another TED Talk as well. So might get a little preachy today. All right, so I'm going to do these ones and just do a couple whilst we're all here and together. But I think I want like a light yellow. If I can find any of my threads. Yeah, orange is nice actually. Okay, so I tend to just snip off what I need. So for doing like satin stitch or even like something that I know is going to, well, the rain started. Something that I know is going to use a lot of thread. I will snip off quite a bit, but here I've just got just a little bit, because then I'll do a little French knot here and maybe use the same color for something else. The other way that you can kind of try it before you buy it, if you know what I mean, is to do the wraps that you want, okay? Put it down into the fabric like this and shimmy it down, but don't commit. Don't put the needle through, because you can still take the needle out right now and the wraps will come off and there's no knot. So you can kind of see, like, is that going to be too big? Is it going to be too small? You can take it off. You can do one. See, is that going to be a little bit better? Obviously, I'll need more, but that might be a little bit nicer. It just depends. So I'm going to go back to 3 because I think that looked all right. Do some chunky ones in there. The other thing to watch out for with French knots is, like I said, when I was doing the sampler, is try not to go through the knot, because it makes it really difficult. So I tend to kind of like poke around when I do it. So like if you push it down like that and it doesn't go down easily, then you need to pick a new place to poke it, because you know it's just going to be a problem. I'm going to try and put 5 on here, because even numbers make me a little bit like, they look a little bit weird. And don't be afraid to get right up to that edge, because you don't want the French knots to be kind of right in the center and then have a whole line around it. You know, like you don't want the French knots just to be like right here and have that like white fabric there. You want to really fill up the space. So you can even go all the way over here, stick them in there, right up underneath there like that. If you're doing big ones for this, then it'll probably be fine, just doing a couple. But if you're doing small ones, definitely get them right up under there. Okay, so there is something else that I do want to talk about. And that is, I'll probably talk about it more in my stories later, to be fair, but that is, I had a couple questions after I shared the thing about patterns and people copying different patterns. So I said that one of my friends had her work stolen, and the person in question didn't understand why that was a problem. So I just want to briefly say, I had a couple people say, okay, but like, what if I took like this flower here and like used it in my own work. And I think, yeah, that's fine. But this is my drawing. I didn't get this off the internet. I didn't like find another stitcher who made it like this. Like I drew it like this. So it's a little bit awkward when you see someone who's taken your drawings that you've drawn of the flowers and then put them in their own work, and then now they're selling that. Because it almost kind of feels like you've taken a little bit of something that I've done and now you're passing it off as your own. And you don't want to get those two mixed up, especially if I'm your teacher and I've taught you that. So yeah, just be a little bit aware of doing that. So I'm happy to teach you all the different, I'm just looking for a color for the inside of this. So I'm not just like preaching, just searching, because I thought I had a really nice dark yellow, but I definitely don't. Oh, here's one. That might be quite nice. Yeah, so just be a little bit careful because you want your work to be 100% your work. If you're going to sell it, if you're going to give it to someone as a gift, then I don't mind as much because you're just using, things that I've taught you on your own. But when you start selling work, you want it to be 100% yours. You don't want there to be any kind of question as to, especially later, if someone says, oh, I've seen someone else do this exact same flower. Did you copy her? You don't want that to be a question ever. You don't want anyone to ever question or accuse or you bring it up or anything like that. You want it to be totally your work. So just be a little bit careful. Like I've said before, I don't mind if you take the drawings that I've drawn and make your own pattern to stitch up in your free time. But please don't take the drawings that I've drawn and then put them in work that you're going to sell and try and pass off as your own. Like, yeah, you stitched it, but that's not yours. I've drawn that. So it gets a little bit muddled. And I know other people don't have a problem with, people selling patterns that if they've bought a pattern, they don't mind people selling it after they've stitched it up. But for me, it's a little bit weird because it is my drawings and it is my work. So it does get a little bit like uncomfortable. Like you feel like I've done these drawings. You didn't do those drawings. You can definitely go and look at a flower and you can draw it yourself. Don't just take the elements that I've drawn and put it in something that you're going to sell to other people, because then it becomes mine and your work. Whereas I'm not getting compensated for that, Especially as these are a free stitch along. This is something that I put on for National Embroidery Month. Like, you've not paid for this. And they are all genuinely all my drawings. They're all made up. I've not found them anywhere. I mean, other than like the fishbone stitch, because obviously that's an actual stitch. So yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there. I hope that I didn't make anybody uncomfortable or anybody I'm not calling anybody out. It's just that I had a couple people ask, I don't understand where the line is or what is the deal or what's, can you clarify? So I thought I would clarify. Jamie T's here. I was too busy doing French knots to see. Right, the other thing you can do with these French knots is sorry, you came in right in the middle of my little TED Talk. Sorry about that. But yeah, the other thing you can do is you can even mix the colors together. So you can do the thread mixing like that and get like a nice mix of the two colors. Or you can do like a ring around of one color and then like a different color in the middle. So it's almost like, I didn't do it on this one. I didn't do it on the other one either. It's almost like, like this. Except for the inside, you could do another color of French knot, or you could do another satin stitch there. So what I would suggest is practice some French knots, see how you do. And if you want to, you can wait until tomorrow and you can fill the middles with other things. Jamie T says, I'm working and watching. Haha, it's okay. Good TED Talk. Oh, I find it so uncomfortable, like, talking about things like that. Like, when I was talking about, like, pattern stealing, and the other day, someone was like, you sound like you're gonna cry. I feel so bad. I'm like, no, it's not that. It's just that it's awkward, and it's very, it's not, like, a nice thing to talk about. It's not happy. It kind of, like, brings the mood down a little bit. But at the same time, come on, I've gone through a knot. This is not fun. There we go. But at the same time, it's something that needs to be talked about, because when you see someone who's doing that, who's either stealing a pattern like stitch for stitch or taking even elements of your work, like I said, like I've drawn all of these flowers and all the flowers in each of my patterns. I've drawn them myself. So it feels a little bit dirty when you see someone else has like taken parts of that. Oh no. Ooh. Dangerous. I was in the danger zone there. When you see someone's taken part of that and you know that they didn't draw those, you know that they've taken them from you, but then they're saying, oh, these are for sale, come and buy them. Don't get me wrong, they look beautiful. Then they've done a good job, but you can't take someone else's drawing and stitch it up and say, this is mine now. It's not yours, babe, it's mine. I drew it. So that's all I'm going to do for today, because I've already been on for about 30 minutes. So I'm just going to do these two. To be fair, I'll probably add French knots on these ones as well. Like I said before, right at the very tip, at the very top, little French knots there. And then tomorrow will be a fill day. So anything that you haven't done that you feel like you want to catch up on, you can do that this evening as well. And then tomorrow we'll be doing a couple, definitely like a little filler stitch, maybe some French knots here, and we might be adding some other little things around. And I still have to finish my lavender from yesterday. We can add leaves on things if you haven't added leaves yet, like on this guy or on this one where we did the couching. So yeah, very fun. I will talk with you later. Just a reminder that on the paid stitch along, I am going to do the grid again. So if you missed the grid and you've just come on, then just wait a minute and hop on to the next live and you can watch the grid. Yeah, hope you enjoyed my TED Talk. I'll talk with you later. Bye.